Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking to you about Rumiko's sake or Rumiko no Sake. Hi everyone, I'm Jay and I'm going to be walking you through a general maze of sake stories. I'm going to take you along a journey and hopefully you'll learn something, hopefully I'll learn something, and I'm going to introduce you to some wonderful sake from my portfolio of products, and I'm hoping you're gonna enjoy it. So I actually get quite a few questions about this particular product simply because of the artwork on the front of the bottle and the name being Rumiko Sake. So the actual story behind this is quite interesting. Rumiko is the current owner of the brewery and Moriki Brewery. So when she was in her 20s, she was actually a pharmacist or working in the pharmaceutical industry in the Kanto region. And her father, unfortunately, had a stroke. And as the eldest daughter, she was, tasked to be the hero of the brewery and take over and run operations, right? So her father, so actually, with her father being sick, her husband and Rumiko decided to go back to the brewery and try to operate and make the brewery on behalf of the family business. So at the time, the brewery was actually making two house brands, and those two house brands were effectively subcontracted out to another company who then did the sales, right? So they weren't really selling directly; they were doing it through, making on behalf of another company. And so Rumiko and her husband, I remember they're in their 20s now. They after 2 years or so, unfortunately, the contract that they had with that company was terminated, so they were basically left alone, and they were selling sake through their kind of liquor store at the time, attached to the brewery, and that was their only real source of income at the time. So at that point, it was really kind of challenging for Rumiko as a female brewery owner to kind of think about what's the next step for the brewery, how are they going to survive. They're on the edge of kind of bankruptcy, ineffectively. So one of her acquaintances gave her a manga magazine, which was at the time, it was called Rumiko No Sake, and it was about the industry of sake at that time, especially in relation to a woman working in the industry and all of the challenges and the hardships that they go through in order to survive in the industry. So that really resonated with Rumiko herself, and she kept reading and reading and reading, and eventually she wrote a letter to the actual writer, the famous writer. His name was Akira Oze, and he replied. He replied after a week or so, and eventually he came to the brewery to visit her, and he also brought in an acquaintance with him who was another brewery owner. So at this time, when Akira Oze and his acquaintance came to visit Moriki Brewery, remember the brewery at this time was making house sake. So we're talking about, Fusushu Honjozo style sake. But at the time when Akira Oze had created the manga comic book, he was actually sparking a sake boom. Right, so at the time of that sake boom, the junmai style started to become much more popular, and the acquaintance of Akira Oze, who was a brewery owner, he also showed Rumiko the wonders of junmai sake. So she tasted lots and lots of sake, went to various events, discovered the completely new style as far as she was concerned. And then with that information, she went back to her own brewery and started to make a batch of junmai. So this batch of junmai, especially the first batch, she sent one of the bottles of the batch to Akira Oze and asked his opinion on it and thought, what kind of name do you think I should give it? And his reply was, I think you should call it, especially since you're inspired by the manga comic book, you should call it Rumiko Sake or Rumiko no Sake. And this is how it was born. And he also organized for the artwork, or the same artist who did Rumiko no Sake, to also create the label for Rumiko Sake. So this is the same artwork style, as you can see. and it's wonderful, and everybody really loves this style of sake. And this was made with a Koji No. 9 yeast as well, which you know, with this junmai flavor, it's really kind of common. Now, Koji No. 9 yeast is typical, you know, with the junmai and ginjo style sake, so this is perfect for this particular product. And you know, since she's been making this, you know, it's a very small brewery, just a few employees, 4 or 5 employees, but this is a really kind of almost like has a cult following around it on this particular brand. So I really love it. It's a great addition on our portfolio. We've had it for a while, really popular, and yeah, it's wonderful. And I think it's an amazing story of not only, you know, discovery, new products or inspiration, but it's also a story of survival as well, and the fact that you know, there aren't that many, or at least there weren't that many female brewery owners or female toji or anything along those lines in those days. So now it's getting a little bit more popular. There still aren't enough. There still aren't as many, but we're proud to have this on our books, and yeah, please enjoy. So that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this short story. You know, please keep an eye out for the product. If you're, you know, getting little bits of information that are useful, please, you know, hit the subscribe button. I think slowly but surely the videos are becoming a little bit easier for me to make as well. I'm slowly understanding how to do the edit process. I always say at the end of these little videos I've made so far, maybe 4 of them, 5 of them, that, you know, it takes time to build up not only the confidence to do a YouTube channel, but also just the skill on how to put the thing together. It's not as easy as I initially thought, but I think it's a great hobby to have, and I'm using my passion for sake to also join those 2 skills together. So hopefully it'll be something useful. So keep watching, and, you know, any comments, please feel free. I'll see you next time. Thanks very much.